if you can clear a bit for me something, because I feel there's been a change in my life. I've told you about this, and that I'm, to put it in words, much more in flow, and has to do a lot with moment to moment, being more in tune with what I want. But at the same time, there's like, I also, I think I said this already to you, but there's also like, on one hand, this sense, okay, like, when is it gonna end? When I'm gonna go back to not being in flow? And it's kind of like a disbelief. And on the other hand, I seem to like oscillate a bit between, like, there's been a lot of change in how, and I notice more energy, and how I act, or what I do most days. But then I seem to oscillate a bit. I fall into like worrying about results, or like suddenly, okay, but I'm doing all these things that are different, and I don't see results, and I don't see external results. So that would be like a believing again that um, how do you say la papa? What the the big deal is in the flow. Like believing again that the big deal is in something in the future, and not in the actual flow, nor independent on if there is ever any result or not. Like the result, I feel it, and when I'm in that flow, the result is like, I don't really need any external results, because the satisfaction is there. Um, but then there is, I also notice this oscillation, no? This fear comes in, or yeah.
I think the key there is the preconceived notion of what is flow. Because what you're worried about, the fear of going back into the previous state of not flowing compared to the flowing you know now, what if that's also flow?
going going back.
Well, back, you can't go back, but I'm describing your worry. Your fear is it's going to go away. This state of flow, it's going to go away. When is it going to end, you said?
Yeah.
So there's a lack of trust, which is fine, because the lack of trust can also be part of the flow. The ending of this experience of flow can be part of the flow. Do you see? So there's a preconceived notion of what is flow.
Yeah.
Or you could also think of it as there is a deeper way of flowing that you can discover, where whatever is happening is part of the flow. And I mean very emphatically whatever is happening. 100% of what can happen is part of the flow, including the flow that you're experiencing stops, and in whatever way it stops. Things not working out in whatever way they can not work out. What if that is also flow? Or differently, from what depth, from what deeper place can you relate to that so that it is also flow?
Yeah, that's interesting.
And that's what I'm pointing to, this. You're relating to it from a level of depth where there is still a notion, a structured notion of what is flow. And so you're placing where you are is great. I'm just pointing to something deeper. You've discovered something that's very valuable. But then you can still make that into a prison, into something to identify with. And so everything that is temporary or based on experience will end. So the state of flow that feels like how it feels like now will end. This too shall pass. And so the worry you have is actually appropriate. And what I'm pointing to is that the way through isn't a kind of resignation. The way through is that there is a deeper recognition where you can't not be in flow no matter what happens.
Yeah.
Because flow is
Like even
flow is
okay,
what
yeah.
is happening.
But there is something that changed in the sense I'm less stuck than I used to be, and I
Yeah.
just feel afraid of going back to being stuck.
Yes, 100%. You're in a much deeper place, but still you're in a place that you're constructing some form of solid place to rest in, you're attaching to your. And I'm saying that is a deep place, deeper, but there is more.
So, like for instance, even if I feel I suddenly went back to being stuck, or I start
Yeah.
fearing and going to the future and worrying about results, and you can I can be in the flow of that. So in a sense.
Let's put it this way. Right now, you're creating a conceptual map of what it is to be in flow, and you're trying to then impose it on the experience.
Right now, with what I just said, or
just what you've discovered now, you're in a deeper state of flow. You were very stuck. Now you're in a deeper state of flow, and you're saying, oh, I understand, I get this flow now, I'm doing it. And it's becoming familiar enough that you can create a kind of map around it. And then you're trying to impose it, control life in order to impose this. And what I'm saying is there's a flow, a deeper flow, where life is showing you what flow is. So whatever is happening is flow. And so if something that is happening, you feel stuck, you can look at your beliefs about it. How is this actually flow? I feel stuck. How is this actually flow?
Okay. Yeah, I think I see where you're going.
Because then it's going to challenge all of your mental beliefs around flow, around life, around how things should be. It's like learning to surf, and you surf in a few beaches, you know them really, really well. You know the waves, you know how they come, you know the shape, you know when they start, when they stop. You go to a different coast, the waves are all different. And then suddenly your ability to surf is going to be challenged. And if you try to impose the flow on the waves, no, you should be smaller, bigger, turn more this way, turn more that way. That's for me to flow, and this is flow.
Yeah, that's a good metaphor.
So what happens when we go to a deeper place is we learn more deeply how to flow with what is, how to, and it doesn't come from us trying to impose on the wave. It's about feeling into the wave and assuming that it's better to listen to the wave than to try to impose on the wave. If you try to impose on the wave, it's more likely you're going to lose that battle. It's an assumption, but it's very likely more practical. And so the assumption, which I'm describing obviously in waves and in surfing as a metaphor, it's easy to see, but it's relevant because it has to do with trusting what is. What if what is deeper that I have been able to relate? And so I'm in friction again. I'm trying to impose again. I'm in conflict and worry, in a sense of stuck, of not flowing. But what if it's just there's a deeper trust, there's a deeper listening. then we come to a point where that which resists can stop.
I was going to ask you, it never stops. It's like a spiral going deeper and deeper, but you just said it can't stop.
It does, it can. The process of the spiral, the ability to surf, the development of that ability to surf doesn't stop. There's an infinite growth or evolution, but the place from where we resist can stop. Almost pretty much completely, totally, permanently. To a point where I can't tell. It's hard for me to know if it's completely, totally, or just a little bit before completely. And it has to do with noticing, seeing fully that the reason why we resist what we're trying to protect isn't real. And so then all of that effort is futile, and so it's really hard to keep it up. It's like spending all your life building an army to protect a treasure chest, and then you open it and it's empty.
Yeah.
Will you still be training the army, recruiting, fighting the battles? And not only that, but what you thought was in the treasure chest is actually everywhere. Which is emptiness. It's presence, it's aliveness, it's empty. It's love, it's freedom,